Hey guys, so here is my Singer 111WSV71 industrial needle feed machine that I'm going to be selling. It is an SV71, that stands for special variant. So this is part of the 111W series of machines by Singer. And this is a special variant model that was made by Singer for the military. So this actual machine was used by the military in World War II. They made some modifications to the machine. I think they added hardened steel parts in here to improve durability. But it's a phenomenal machine, a lot nicer than anything that you're going to find today that's made overseas. It's just the quality of the materials is so much higher. And to be honest, a lot of the newer machines are replicas of this Singer. So something like a Taxo T111 155, or even the Sailrite. What is their bigger machine? Their Sailrite 111, I think it is. So anyway, so this is pretty much the standard and has been for the last 40, 50, 60 years. So everything, the original table is gone, and so is the original motor. That's the kind of stuff that you want to upgrade. It was just too old. So the machine now has a newer Taxo clutch motor, 400 watt, 1750 RPM motor with a small pulley. There'll be a guard included on there, pulley guard. I just took it off. I was working on it earlier. So it's got a smaller pulley which drops the speed down on the machine, so it's really manageable. It's got the original Singer knee lift, which is awesome. You will get spoiled by these things. And going back to a home sewing machine, it's a little frustrating because you'll be waving your knee on the home sewing machine and nothing will be there. So that's included. The finish was a little rough when I got it, so I actually sandblasted it. So it's like a soft silver. You can spray paint it if you want, if you're concerned about rust or anything like that, but I wasn't worried about it. It also has the original bobbin winder, automatic bobbin winder, light spool stand. It's got a kickstand back here too, so when you tilt the machine back to do your maintenance, and you should be oiling pretty frequently depending on how much you're sewing, you can tilt it back. It's on hinges, and you can oil all the critical points. And that's outlined in the manual, which I will be including too. You could see this is the timing belt on it, and it is in great shape. So there's no concern about having to replace this, but even if you did have to replace it, they are all over eBay because a lot of the newer machines replicate and try to duplicate the 111W. There are a lot of aftermarket parts that you can buy for this machine should something happen and you need it. So the timing belt is $20 online. But this one's in great shape. There's nothing even to worry about there. So as the timing belt's in great shape, so is the drive belt. You can see is fine. It has a horizontal rotary hook. So this is awesome. It is so much easier to change the bobbin on this thing than it is for something in a bobbin case, which can be a pain in the butt sometimes. So this is actually, I'll have to fix that in a second, but it's awesome. It has adjustable stitch length between 5 and 30 stitches per inch. Let's just sew. I'll show you how it works. What I will be including though is the system uses DP X17 needles, or 135 by 17, which is pretty much the standard for industrial sewing machines. So I'll include some Schmetz needles. These are 20s, but I'll include maybe like 3 20s, 3 18s, 2 16s, and 2 14s. So you have a variety depending on the fabric and material you're working with. I'll also include the stock foot as well as a right zipper / piping foot a left zipper / piping foot and a welting foot. So if you're going to do automotive upholstery or furniture upholstery, this is a must-have. It makes it so much easier to get really professional results. So I'll include those. I'll also include 20 new, these are really high quality bobbins for this machine. You can find them online. Quality varies. I made sure to get the good ones because I've had bad experiences in the past. This is the side plate cover. I was doing maintenance on the machine earlier this afternoon and I dropped the screw on the floor somewhere. So I'll find it, but that'll also be on there. So let me mount it in the tripod and we'll just show you how this thing sews. It's pretty phenomenal. The only reason why I'm selling it is because we're moving in a few months and I already have 2 other machines that I use. This is a 3rd industrial and we just don't have the room for it. So I haven't been using it as much as I should be, but it's a great machine. So let me fix the bobbin here since I popped the lever on it. So it's pretty easy. You rotate it so it pulls counterclockwise. Drop it in. Close the latch. Feed. And you don't pull it out. It's easy to access, easy to change. You can get different plates. You can get binder plates for this. It's cool. So I'm going to turn it on. Here's the clutch motor. You can hear it spinning up in the background. And it just kind of hums in the back. The light works. I just turned it off because I don't want it to create any hot spots. So I just serviced the machine. So basically what that entails is I went through, I checked the timing, checked the needle bar height, checked the hook, checked the centering of the needle, checked the feed dogs, full range of motion, the stitch length's accurate, went through, blasted it with compressed air to remove everything, sprayed it with kerosene and all the moving spots. Then I hit it again with air after I gave it some time to penetrate and evaporate. Hit it with the air, blow the rest away, and then lubricated it. And every time I'd use this machine, I would always lubricate the hook and then the rest of the points as needed. So there's kind of a schedule that they recommend. I always followed it. That's what keeps these things running for so long. So this will outlast you. There's no doubt. So you can lift the presser foot with the lever in the back like a standard machine, but you can also operate it with the knee lever. So let's just start on a piece of denim. This was given to me. I don't even know. It feels heavier than like standard jean denim. Let's just do 4 layers so you can see what kind of control and penetrating power. So the machine doesn't have reverse. There are a couple ways that people have been using forever to kind of get around that. One is you can do a few stitches forward, use your knee lever, lift the piece, do a couple stitches back. Depends on the size of your piece, right? If you're doing upholstery for furniture, that is not going to be a great option. You keep going forward. The other option is you drop the needle down, you do a couple stitches, you stop, you raise the needle, and you get this slack here, right? So you pull the piece back a few stitches, drop the knee lever, and kind of find the same hole that you started in, and continue going. And then what that does is you'll sew back over the piece, but you've essentially created the locking stitch. So if you want it to look super clean, you would do the back and forth like I just showed you in the beginning, but if that's one method. Another method I've seen people do is what they'll do is they'll lift the presser foot just a little bit with the knee, and then they'll actually stitch like 5 stitches, but you're just stitching in the same spot because the feed dogs aren't moving anywhere, because the feed dogs aren't moving the fabric because you've lifted the presser foot. So that will lock the stitch too, and you can't even tell really where that was done. But so yeah, and then on the underside you can see there's the little knot from from where I did that. Here you can see the loop on the bottom from where I pulled it back, and here there's nothing because, so those are the three methods. Depends on what you're doing. Smaller pieces, this is the way to go and you'll get used to it. If you're doing upholstery where you're going to be hiding a lot of your back stitching anyway, so it's not really an issue, and you could just do the second method I showed. Whatever. So look, the machine's adjustable 5 to 30 stitches per inch. So right now, I can tell you it is, see what the stitch I just was doing was 12 stitches per inch. And how I know is you depress this button on the bed of the machine on the left here, and you rotate the hand wheel while pressing this, and you'll feel it drop into a groove. And you're going to look over here, and there's actually a little peephole with a bunch of numbers, and this shows 12. This is your stitch length. So if I wanted to lengthen the stitch length, I would hold the button down, pull the hand wheel, and it's rotating an eccentric disc in the bottom. And so here I can rotate it to, let's go to 9. And I let go of this, and when I start sewing again, you can see that's a longer stitch. So 12, 9. It's got a lot of low speed control, so you can see generally if you're doing really intricate stuff, you would just put a little bit of pressure and just kind of tap it with your finger. So you can see how slow I'm going. I mean, chances are if you're looking into one of these machines, you probably already have a little bit of experience behind a sewing machine. But if not, it's pretty easy to get used to the controls. So it has a brake in the clutch motor. You push your heel down, it'll stop. So if you're going really fast, you press the heel down and it stops it immediately. So you can approach edges really quickly once you get good and just stop. And you can see I was able just to track along that the edge there with no problem. Check the stitch balance. So you could put a little bit more upper tension on there, but it'll sew fine, and then it'll sew through a ton of stuff here. So let's lengthen the stitch a little further. So I know we were on 9, so I go back to 9 and let's go to 6, which I think is a pretty good length. I mean, the stitch length is really dependent on the thread you're using and the material that you're going through. So if you're doing like upholstery or leather, you're going to want to do a longer stitch, and if you're going through finer material, you can get away with a tighter stitch. So you can see this thing tracks just really well, feeds really well. Now what really differentiates this from a standard just industrial sewing machine is that it's a needle feed system, meaning that this needle actually moves. I'm going to go to the longest stitch length, so hopefully that'll exaggerate. So this is 5 stitches per inch. So what happens is you raise the foot, you raise the needle comes forward, excuse me, pierces the fabric, and once it pierces the fabric, it pulls, the feed dogs are pushing from underneath, pulling it back, but the needle also moves and pulls the material back. So when you're working with multiple layers or really sticky or squishy materials, you're going to find that a standard industrial machine is going to have a tough time feeding that stuff through and then maintaining solid stitch quality, maintaining this equal stitch length throughout, especially if you're going up and down different thicknesses and so on. So this gives you the visibility and ease of working with a standard foot, where you can see everything really clearly, and I use the toes as kind of visual markers for when I'm doing seams and whatnot. So you can see how well it feeds. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but it's the needle pulls the fabric back as well as the feed dogs underneath. So let's take this out. I'm going to show you some other things you can do. So this is yoga mat, and it's really squishy. There's no way a standard sewing machine is going to sew through this. it's too soft and it's too sticky. Now there are things that you can do, like if you have a sticky material that doesn't want to move across the bed of a machine like this, you can feel it. I mean, it's so sticky. You can put lay newspaper down underneath it, and it will glide smoothly. And then when you're done, you just rip the newspaper away, and that'll help you feed the fabric through the machine. But just to show you how effective this needle feed system is, I'll sew through 2 layers of this, and you can see what I'm talking about. It's really sticky. I mean, it's not. So it's so squishy that the threads are being buried. I mean, you can't even see them, but you can see it's feeding. It's feeding it even without the newspaper. So, you know, if you're doing foam or whatever, this really helps. So you can do bags on this, leather, denim. I'll do a layer test. People seem to be impressed with. So 4 layers of denim. Here's 8 layers of denim, just so you can kind of see the piercing power of the machine. So this is perfect if you're doing like bags, like messenger bags or canvas bags, totes, leather bags, denim. This is a phenomenal machine. If you're doing upholstery, which is what the last person who owned the machine was doing with it, this is a phenomenal machine for that too. So here's 8 layers of denim. You can see the stitch length doesn't change. It's consistent from back 4 layers, and it didn't even, I mean, this does not, the machine doesn't even hesitate. You can see you can do slow speeds. It's pretty phenomenal. So I guess I could do, if you want to do, I'll do 12 so you can see. 12 is kind of pushing it to, I mean, I don't know when you would ever do this. I wouldn't go fast if you're going to do something like this thick. So you can see how effectively it was able to feed the material, balance stitch top and bottom, and you're talking 12 layers of denim. I mean, that's, you can see the thickness. That's crazy. It's over 1/4 inch of material. So if you're in real world, you're never doing this. So if you want to sew like vegetable tan leather, this will do it. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, email me. Happy to show it to you, and I'm going to be giving whoever ends up buying the machine the manual for it. I'll show them how to use it, wind the bobbins, etc. So pretty phenomenal machine. I really like it. Wish I had room for it, but yeah. So there it is. Singer 111WSV71.